So Karen and I met about like 26 minutes ago, and ours isn't like funny. But I said it's okay because we'll be before us, and they'll probably be really straight. But yeah, we tried to use the fact that we didn't know each other as a basis for our collaboration. So the idea of it is kind of based on letters sent to and from people who are in prison from people who are not in prison, and that the kind of impossible and over intimacy that kind of arises in those letters and the kind of projection from that. Yeah, but neither of us like the prisoner here. Neither of us, I don't know, maybe we're convicted.
We know nothing about each other, so it's quite possible that Mike has been incarcerated.
Yeah.
Shall I?
Yeah, let's go.
Dear Mike, thank you for your most recent letter. I meant to write back before, but my listlessness in the aftermath of work prevented this. I have been thinking of you. The weather has been good, and I know that you must have been enjoying it, the play of light across the epidermis. I wonder, though, have you been happy? Please don't think that I intend to provoke, but I have my concerns. I heard from others, I won't say who, that you lately developed a fondness for reckless behaviour at parties. You must remember to take care of the small, important things. I myself have floundered somewhat recently. I can't say exactly why. The things which should be done are always there: exercise, rest, a palatable diet. The writing is not sustained in these, however. Do you feel the same? I have been reading nothing lately of note. Mike, I am wondering things. Yours, Karen.
Dear Karen, thank you for your note. When I think of you, it seems somewhat intrusive, and for this I apologise. I know what it feels like to have a comfortable notion of your own existence carefully deconstructed, and I would not wish this upon anyone. Nevertheless, I must ask after you. I understand your concerns about diets and about exercise and rest. Do you not think that when we exercise we also rest, and vice versa? It often seems to me that trying to do anything specific is bound to result, eventually, in its opposite. Your obsession with the weather is curious. That desire to see fragmented moments of rain and sun rather than a continuous flood of varying pressures. But I suppose we all have our methods for survival. At the weekend I saw 2 butterflies mating on the wall of the old treacle factory, and I thought of you. Oh, and Karen, I meant to tell you, I saw those birds, the one you described so tenderly. You were right about them. Yours, Mike.
Dear Mike, please, is it short for Michael? Do you feel attached to Mike? Mike. Thank you for your kind words about the birds. You should have known that I would have been right. Only, it wasn't entirely true. Such contradictions, as you say. They fly and peck so rapaciously at that cake of fat hanging from the sycamore, maintaining all the sweetness in the world. Not even a single thought of death in their heads while that old horse looks on. The truth about opposites is as you put it. Only, doesn't this lead to a false plateau? That is, an equilibrium maintained on one level only? It's like those butterflies you mentioned. I appreciate you having thought of me here. Mating in such tender symmetry while all around the treacle boils. I wonder, have your days been well spent since your last letter? I imagine that you have washed your shirts and somebody has run fingers through your hair. Your face, I sense, has changed. Yours, Karen. P.S. Thank you for enclosing the picture. I will hang it beside the watercolours next to the small wooden giraffe.
Dear Karen, thank you for your letter dated the 29th of the 6th, 2014. I feel as the nature of our letters grows ever more complex, we must maintain an air of formality. And yet, I am unable to sustain such cold distance even though the space of these letters, and must instead follow this through as far as it will go. As Keats said, fill all fruit with ripeness to the core. You are right about my name. It is shortened. I simply believe that if you are able to put language together, you should use every opportunity to take it apart. We have a book here called Love Is Never Enough. What do you think of that? I've not read it, so I don't know what else we need. I ask myself if I've been wasting my time. I ask you this question too. I'm glad you liked the picture. We are amassing quite an archive of treasures between us, are we not? Perhaps one day this will all be different. In the night I woke up with the lines of your letters floating between my lips, which reminds me, Karen, can you swim? Yours, Mike.
Dear Mike, thank you for your letter dated 30th of June 2014. I'm sorry. Sorry. I too want to drop the formality, but it does provide some fragile support to my message, which is committed to hands I cannot see, as Emily Dickinson says. I waste my time when I'm not writing to you. I measure everything by the frequency of your letters. We have the book between us. Love is never enough. I haven't read it either. Yesterday the wind picked up. I folded some pages of Love is Never Enough into a small aeroplane and wrote an impassioned letter to you inside its wings. I threw it towards where I thought you might be. I hope that you received it. What we need is more consistent gusts. When did you last look up? I love to swim, especially in the sea. I'm strong. In my dreams, I wrestle with the ocean, knowing it once enveloped you. The silence of each movement aches. Can you hear it, Mike? These things will one day be different. Yours, Karen.
Dear Karen, in the dream we were swimming with twins and you said, I feel so comfortable with those two, but only when they're together. Noon was breathtaking today. It so often isn't, is it? Noon is so often underwhelming, but perhaps that's what made it work. A myth of stoicism in the middle of the day, outside of the weather, this direct position of the sun. Love is never enough is lost between us. After your last letter, I was thinking about how I had negated the possibility of your strength in my Galatea review. Of course you would be strong. How otherwise could we carry on? I never received your aeroplane, but believe me when I say I often look for it upwards. But let's not joke around. Our ability to look upwards is, to put it mildly, severely limited. Sometimes I read your letters backwards, punctuation and all, and the tension I can feel in the coil of your words springs forwards into my body with the violent perfection of a hurricane. The quorum of meaning, etc., translates deep despite everything. Which of these words could be different? Yours, Mike.
Dear Mike, each of these words could not be different. Some men interpret 9 memos. You, on the other hand, interpret more than what is granted. Boing! We are not in Kansas anymore, so to speak. The last time I was in the sea, I started drowning under the weight of your reverie. It was only by using the twins as ballast that I once more encountered my own breath. I grasped, spluttered, and hauled my sodden corpse toward the dawn, only to find that it had shifted under your gaze. I was back once more underneath the weather, and I could do nothing but acquiesce. It all started when you failed to locate the aeroplane. Your eyes could have risen to it that day. I'm disappointed. Don't you know that gravity is still just a theory, a vast conspiracy of silence? This makes sense, you say. You always were a terrible liar. Yours, Karen.
Dear Karen, my lies began the day you first wrote to me, and I've never looked back, so to speak. Sometimes I am 33 years old, and my past and future are palindromic with deceit. Sometimes I tell you the truth, which is itself buoyed within this double dream of wind and rain that we have placed inexplicably between us. This time, our dimensions of experience are, for once, graspable. The idea of flight is more than we can afford. By the time we meet, I will be coughing up oxygen, the room will be dark, and we will be at war with a projection of spectators. Be careful. Everything from here on is staged. I offer this as a warning and as a request. Deceive me in text as much as in movement. Yours, Mike.
Dear Mike, I have been uncautious, and we stand apart in full view. It is true that most of what we have said was once a lie. The exposure came in the broken movement, as a changeling worm fragments its golden prison. I have lived through many private wars which do not show true suffering. Pay no more heed to me or where our letters fall. Now we must grasp only our own coordinates. I will not give you these last words. Yours, Karen.
Thank you.